Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for joining in. I welcome you all. We are in a series of, you know, personalized cold outreach series. We are continuing that particular series. And today is a very special day because today we are going to deliver something very, very valuable. Today we are going to talk about the entire playbook, the entire SOP or standard operating procedure that we follow when it comes to creating the system for email deliverability for large B2B companies when it comes to cold outreach. So, I mean, this is a process that has taken years for us to learn. For many of you, this will be like, okay, fine, yeah, these are the basics of the stuff. But this is an absolute important setup and execution that needs to be done before you can think anything big, right? So this is the platform setup and the standard operating procedure of how we create the entire system to send cold email outreach. And it is more than just setting up, cold outreach software or, creating a few domains and attaching some mailboxes to the email. No, it is so much more than that. And since we work only with very large companies, so our process is also very, very robust. And I'm pretty sure that even if you're not from large B2B company, you will find this webinar very, very interesting if you want to implement a cold outreach system for your company as well. So with that, I'm going to, I have called upon my friend and my colleague, Shyam. So I'm going to introduce him in a while, but he's an absolute rock star when it comes to cold email and LinkedIn outreach, and he has been doing it for over 10 years now, and he's going to share his input on what it does. Right. So I think with that, I'm going to just quickly hand it over to my friend and colleague Shyam to give a quick brief of Shyam. Shyam is an email marketer. He is a top-rated freelancer in multiple platforms. I have been working with him for last almost 10 years now. And, he has worked with like a million different platforms, both in terms of inbound marketing as well as cold outreach, as well as LinkedIn outreach. So he comes with a plethora and, a sea of knowledge when it comes to email marketing and email deliverability and, cold outreach and, generate lead generation using cold emails and LinkedIn outreach and SMS marketing. So he comes with a lot of experience, and we have built up a system, what we call as the email SOP, and he's going to go through each and every step as to what the steps that he follows when it comes to setting up the outreach playbook for large B2B companies. So now with that, let me introduce you, Shyam, Radhe Shyam Behra. So my
Hello.
friend, my colleague, you can take over from now.
Yeah. Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen now, and you guys let me know if it is visible or if you have some issues. Okay. Is it visible? All right.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been, as Ritesh has just mentioned, that I've been into this industry for many, many years, and we have seen a number of challenges that most of the companies face, whether they are B2B, B2C. We are primarily into B2B companies. We're helping them out with various challenges, overcoming various challenges. So I am briefly going to talk about some of the challenges that these B2B companies face when they are trying to generate leads for them. And one of the channels is cold emailing or email outreach. Right. So, okay. So, what are the core reasons for because of which the B2B lead generation fails today? So, the first reason in this, I can tell you, is the generic messaging that usually people ignore. So, people like you, people like me, they get generic emails all the time in our personal mailboxes, in our professional mailboxes, and those are the emails which we right away ignore and maybe probably just archive in our inboxes. So how does it look like? What kind of generic messaging we are talking about? So for example, you read a email which says, "Hey, I help businesses like yours grow revenue with proven marketing strategies." So this email probably 10 years back might have rang some kind of bells, and you might have replied to this, but no longer, the people no longer replies to these kind of emails. You might also see something like, "I would love 15 minutes to tell you about about our lead generation solution," right? So these are also the kind of emails that you, or particularly me, I get these kind of emails all the time in my inboxes, and I have little to no time to reply to these emails because I know these are simple cold emails, and there is not much thought put into this. So generic messaging like this does not work in the days where we have so many layers into email marketing, and people have refined it into lead generation machine that it is today. And but unfortunately, not everybody knows how good it can be and how uh, profitable it can make their campaigns. Okay, there are some other reasons because of which lead generation using cold emails fails. So right now, I'm just talking about the pain points or the challenges right now. So we'll come to the solutions part as well later on. But right now, I'm just highlighting some of the reasons because of which the lead generation fails. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about the challenges that the, companies face when generating leads, particularly through cold emails. Uh, the second reason here is the lack of contextual understanding of the buyer needs. Imagine you're sending an email to someone and you don't even know what that person needs, and you're just uh, getting into their inbox and just pitching your service. So that does not sound a very intelligent plan, right? So usually people will simply ignore your email because this is something that is coming out of your need, not because of their need, right? But if you know what they need and you send an email highlighting that you know what they need and you can help them out fulfill that need, that particular email might get a response from the recipient, right? In this case, your potential buyer, and that could be huge because not every buyer is going to reply to all the emails that they receive. But once you're sending to multiple people, multiple recipients, and you receive some responses, that gives you something to forward to your sales teams and your pre-sales teams, that keeps your uh, wheels running, right? So, so if you don't know the right context to send email to the person that you're sending to, it might just fail, as simple as that. Another reason, this would be the third reason, which could be a possible challenge that people face, is that basically they are sending emails at poor timing and irrelevant touch points. What I mean by that is simply reaching out, for example, at a time where they don't even have a budget. For example, if you're talking to them, if you're sending emails in quarter 4 of the financial year, most of the companies don't have budget at that point of time. They have very limited resources in terms of money, in terms of availability, resource availability, and so on. You're sending emails and you're pitching your services. There are high chances that you might face a rejection. So there could be other reason as well. Like for example, you have already sent an email and you're just checking in right 26 after just a few hours that you're trying to follow up with them with your previous email. They might not even have got a chance to look at your first email, or might not even have got a chance to discuss this first email with their team, and you are just not giving them enough time to get back with a proper response to your email, right? That could be one reason. Another reason is your whatever message you are sending, it does not resonate with the stage they are in at the stage with the stage. I mean by that is that basically they are at a different level of understanding of the buyer journey. They're at a place where your messaging is not working with them. Okay, if you're sending at that time, it's poor timing, as simple as that, and you might not get a response that you're expecting. Okay, all right. So now that we have looked into some of the challenges, let's quickly move to uh, the next slide, which is relevance and personalization. What do I mean by relevance and personalization? So, for example, if you're talking to someone and you tell them, I see you are in fintech, that means you know that they're fintech and you're just trying to connect with them with a relevant approach. Okay. But this is not enough. What do I mean by that? Is that if you can personalize this particular tiny little icebreaker, I see you are in fintech. If you can say something like, "Hey, I saw your recent funding round. Congrats. I'm really curious how you plan to scale this lead flow to match your growth." So if you are personalizing your message in terms of what exactly they are doing or going through in their career or in their business approach and business situation wherever they are in, which means that you're following their business, you're following what they are doing, you are keeping a track of their recent activities, and which tells them that you are interested in them, and it is not a lie, it's just plain truth that you have looked into their details, you have looked into their activities. Okay, which means relevance is good, personalization is even better. Okay, so similar approach applies to the email as well. If you send them an email and if you can personalize in terms of whatever activity they are up to, and you have actually noticed that activity, that gives you a huge advantage when you are doing something like cold email. Okay, so to put it in simple words, relevance would be the surface level, and real personalization hits the nerve. Okay, all right. So now that is, I hope that is clear. Let's move on to the next slide, which is deep personalization. What do I mean by that? Is you dig deeper into personalizing your messages. It's not just simple like knowing their name, their email, their phone number. You actually keep track of what they are doing, how they are doing, uh, and you are forming your messaging according to that. Uh, Okay, so it comes with a great power. It can land you into a position where you're actually close to signing the deals. Okay, so for example, somebody just referencing to my previous point where I just talked about personalization. If you notice somebody has launched a new product, you need to talk about that, and that will grab their eyeballs, that will grab their attention. Similarly, if you know some recipient has appeared in a podcast or a webinar, and if you highlight that and that you have heard that podcast or watched that podcast or webinar, that gives you a huge leverage to start the conversation, and people will be more than willing to reply to you if you are interested in their activities rather than pushing your activities down their throat. Okay, even if you have read something they have written in a blog post or a LinkedIn article and you mention that, that gives you a huge credibility that you are actually into what they are doing. Okay, so even one more example I would like to give is that suppose somebody changes tech stack and you notice that they have changed the tech stack, that also gives you a huge icebreaker to start the conversation. These ideas work in basically any kind of physical interaction you do in a seminar, in a meeting, in a public place. Similar or the basically exactly the same approach also works in cold email. The more you personalize, the better the response will be. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. So, okay, before moving on to the next one, I'm simply into building funnels and customer experiences. I'm more than 10 years experience into CRM integration, CRM implementation, sales funnel building, and automation, as well as cold email, the topic of the webinar today. So, I would like to show something else as well. So let me go to the SOP that Ritesh has mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. So this is the exact SOP, standard operating procedure, that we follow in order to bring results for our clients, in fact, for ourselves, in our own email marketing campaigns. It's a very, very extensive procedure. We have refined it time and again, and it is at a stage where you can just plug and play to any project, whichever comes on our hand. Okay, so let's begin with with the first step of this SOP, which is the strategy part or the funnel discovery part of the email program or the cold email system. Here we define a bunch of things. This is the definition stage. We define every single thing, every little detail that we can find. We define the key matrices here. We define KPIs, which would help us measure the success and what kind of activity is going on in terms of the implementation of the program. uh, we also define the ideal customer profile. It is the most important part. This ideal customer profile, ICP, will help us do the audience segmentation going forward. And the segmentation will basically the most key element when we are sending targeted campaigns to certain individuals or certain email lists. So, so in a nutshell, segmentation and the next stage, which is email list building, is 80% of what we do in cold emailing. If you get this 80% right, the rest 20% would be messaging. Okay, so this is the most critical part. Once these two milestones are completed, uh, there is little chance you would fail getting some kind of response from your audience. Okay, so audience segmentation is a very, very key element. Once we have segmented, then we move on to the prospecting and list enrichment. So here there are a bunch of tools out there which are quite popular. For example, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Apollo, or Zoom Info, and many others are there. People and many companies use these tools to prospect and find the right match where they can direct their sales team to. So before directing these people to sales team, if there is an actual interest or an intent from these people, that would be a great proposition to start with. But how would that interest be generated? So it could be generated through a simple Google search. They're searching for something, and I'm just diverting from the topic a little bit here. Uh, there are a bunch of ways that a lead can show interest. That is, either they are searching on Google, they are seeing an ad on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on LinkedIn, or they see a Google ad. Uh, so basically, they click on the ad, they come to your page, and uh, and you don't know who they are, what they are into, right? These are the places where these list enrichment tools will come into the picture and enrich those leads, even if they are a visitor which you don't even know, they haven't even filled a form in the website. There are tools out there who can help you, which can help you enrich your list. You can find out the name, even the company of these individuals who are visiting your website, and that can give you a huge leverage, because you know that they have landed on your page, your website, and you can start the conversation right there. That, hey, you can simply say that, hey, I know we saw that you are interested in our website, you visited our website. Is there something that even we can do for you? Right? This gives you a huge leverage. So email list building, a very critical part. Email list building is extremely critical. If you can enrich the list, that would be cherry on the cake. Then comes the data verification and cleaning. This is kind of a monotonous or slightly boring part, but extremely important. Without the validation or the cleaning, it would be simply foolish to send the emails to, because the prospecting that has been done through these tools like Apollo or Zoom Info, these people don't even know who you are, or even if they know, they have no clue why you're contacting them. And if something like this happens, their email system, ideally this could be Outlook, or this could be Google, or this could be Yahoo in another scenario, right? These email systems have the capability to reject your emails. These emails can bounce off or even can land into spam traps. Okay, so that is why email verification comes into picture. We use tools like Never Bounce, Zero Bounce, and there are some other tools as well. These are the most popular ones here, right here. Email verification is important. Even if you have a list of 1,000 contacts, this email verification will probably give you much lesser than 1,000 contacts and will safeguard you from future IP blocking or system blocking that can happen in your cold emailing system. So, extremely important step is email verification. Then we move on to list segmentation. Once you have segmented the audience in this step, then you found out which list to build, which the list building can happen through industries, through various parameters. You can pass multiple parameters while building the list. You can define them by age, by industry, by various geographical or career related adjectives. Even you can define them by pain points or company size and so on, and this will help you build the list and also segment the list. And that will conclude the most critical part, which is the segmenting and list building, milestone 1 and milestone 2. Moving on to the milestone 3, this is the server and mailbox setup. So back in the day and even now, there are tools that exist where you have to do all technical stuff in terms of setting up the server, and setting up the domain, setting up the mailboxes, and these, to name a few, it would be SendGrid, SendInBlue, smtp.com, and so on. These tools are quite robust tools and are used by most of the cold emailers or email marketers to send their emails. But these tools lack something which is the enrichment capabilities and also the personalization methods that we can use in the new age tools. To name a few would be reply.io or instantly. So two era there are two eras to which these tools belong. One is the old era where or the old mechanism, which is simply smtp.com or sendgrid.com and so on. And the new age tools are like hunter.io or instantly.ai and reply.io and so on. So the new age tools have huge capability. It simplifies your server and mailbox setup significantly. They have step-by-step guidance on how to do all of that, and they have pretty much a hand-to-hand approach in terms of onboarding you, in terms of making you ready to send your first cold email. These are much easier to set up, and you can look into those tools going forward. Okay, so we also we need to do the DNS configuration here. You obviously need to do buy domains and set up your domains. You obviously need to set up your mailboxes. You need many mailboxes, multiple mailboxes, because a few mailboxes usually just don't do enough for you. And then DNS configuration is also required. You need to set up all these technical terms like TKIM, SPF, and DMARC. Then we need to go ahead with the tool integration with the CRM. If you have a CRM, you can integrate your email platform with your CRM and see the data moving from one system to another. Okay. Moving on to the next step, which is cold email platform. I just mentioned a bunch of cold email platforms recently, like smtp.com or SendGrid, even instantly and reply.io and so on. There are a few more names mentioned over here. So if you know what is your goal of using that platform, you'd identify the right platform for yourself. If you just want to send the emails, you don't care about personalization, you just want to send to let's say hundreds of thousands of people, you don't even need instantly or reply.io in that case, because you're not using personalization, you're not using smart workflow automation that is possible inside the latest tools that are out there. You can do that, but that usually does not give you the result that you want for the time you are putting and for the money you are uh, investing here. Okay, so the tools like Instantly Reply and even Apollo to an extent or Smart Lead will help you grow your list further or improve your list building and improve your response rate significantly. So at the end of the day, we really care about all we really care about is what kind of replies we are getting to the emails we have sent, what kind of clicks and what kind of opens we are getting. These are the three matrices that we want to track. So, uh, but if you are not personalizing your messages enough, if you're not targeting the right audience, if you are not warming up your emails, which is possible in Instantly Reply and the new tools that are there, you cannot warm up directly or on an automation inside the old tools like smtp.com or SendGrid. Okay, so something like Instantly or Reply will give you the capability to warm up your mailboxes automatically. That saves a huge amount of time for your team, for the person who's handling the cold marketing for your campaigns, and it just runs on autopilot and saves you a big amount of time, right? So email warm up is a very big step that needs to happen before you send out your first cold email, because whatever email you are using to send the emails, this email is not conditioned enough to send the cold emails to unknown people. Remember, these people are not known people to you, or these people don't have the relevance yet. Okay, so once they receive the first email, they get a little bit of relevance. They become little bit of warmer than before. They are no longer the coldest lead that you had. uh, all right, so the platform we are talking about, which would be Instantly or Reply or something similar. Email verification tool, Never Bounce and Zero Bounce are very popular tools. You can use them. uh, Gives very good results in terms of verifying the emails, validating the emails, and ensuring that your list is in healthy state. And that is all you need to care when you're running a uh, email campaign. It will solve most of the problems if you are having a very neat and clean list. Okay, moving on to the milestone number 5. This is the email strategy part. Here we need to set the goal. So goal could be anything, such as getting a reply to the email that you have sent. I'm just talking about the goals in a very broader context. What could be the goal of sending the email? To answer this question, you might just want to receive a reply from the person who you have sent the email, right? Or you want that person to click on the link that is inside the email, or you simply want to just inform the person. You don't care about the reply or click for the time being. You just want to inform that uh, you are doing something and they should know. Okay, it could be information email, so you are caring about only the open rates in that case. All right, so these are the three matrices, as I said before, needs to be tracked. Then we have email sequence planning. So once you have the goals, then you need to plan the sequence. Once you know what you want, suppose you want you have a goal where you want people to respond to the email. Then you have to plan the sequence accordingly uh, and influence people or encourage people to reply to the email. The email content should be in such a way that they should be encouraged to reply to the email. Okay, and in order to do that, you need to plan the sequence in a proper way, and you need to figure out how many emails are enough for the content that you are trying to send, the message that you're trying to convey, when exactly you need to send, how frequently you need to send, and uh, what would be the time to even you can include the time and day to send those emails. Okay, you probably don't want to send the emails in weekends, for example. You probably don't want to send the emails midnight. You would probably want to send the emails during the day when they are working or when they are active and when they are ready to receive such kind of information and messaging, right? And you also need to take care of the value proposition you're offering. So remember, you're talking about their needs, not about what you have to offer or what you are up to, right? You need to make the email about them. You need to provide a value which is sufficient enough for them to respond or click on the link that you have sent, or the or take interest in the offer that you have sent. Okay, and you need to make a very clear call to action for that. If you want a response, hey, you need to say, hey, reply to this email so that I can send you the ebook. Hey, reply to that email so that I can sign you up for the next webinar, and so on. Okay, once the strategy development is complete, then we move on to the email content creation. And once you have all the goals, the value proposition, the sequence planning, just go ahead with the email copywriting. Subject line development is very important. Subject line is the sole metric which helps helps people to open email or encourages people to open email. If the subject line is not curious enough, or the not enough curiosity inducing, they will probably never open the email, and you will see low open rates. And if they don't open the email, they don't even know what's inside the email, what kind of offer you have inside the email, what kind of problem you are solving for them, what link was there, and that link, whatever link was there inside, they will not even be clicking on that link. So that is another problem. So subject line is the most critical part of the email, that needs to be tailor made in a very diligent way. Make it curiosity inducing, and also personalize that subject line as much as you can. Then we have the body content. So if you get them to open the email, that would be great. Then you need to focus on the messaging, then the personalization and the relevance, and the messaging, the clarity with which you want to convey your offer. Okay, you need to mention the benefits, and highlight their pain points, and get their attention, and encourage them to respond to you, or even uh, go to your website and check them out. Check your services out in your website. Okay. Try to incorporate social proof and credibility inside your emails. That will give them another reason to check your services, check you out in your social media like LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram. Okay. And to close this section off, the most important part would be the CTA. This the clear call to action is the most important part. Suppose you have conveyed your message very clearly, but you did not give the right CTA. That means your messaging is going to fail, or your campaign is going to fail very badly. So this is very important. Just tell them what to do. That is the exact action that need to take after reading your email. That guides them in the right direction, and that completes the email content creation part. Moving on to the milestone number 7, A/B testing. This is interesting topic. A/B testing is basically sending multiple variations of a particular email. So imagine you have a subject line, and you don't know how it's going to work. I mean, you have an idea about the subject line, but you come up with two different approaches to the subject line, but you don't know which is going to work, which is not. So in that case, we simply create two versions of the email with two separate subject lines, but keeping everything else same. So A/B testing helps you formulate better campaigns only if you change one variable. So version A and version B. In this case, we talked about subject line, that is the variable. You send one subject line in version A, send another subject line in version B, and let it run for a few days and see how people are responding to these subject lines. If you can see higher open rates in one of the subject lines, for example, let's say in version B, you see higher open rates, that means clearly the version B is winning, and you need to continue with version B. Okay. Now, after a few days, once the campaign is running successfully with version B, you realize that the CTA needs to be changed, but you don't really know how that change will affect your campaign, right? So what you will do, or what I will do in that case is create two separate CTAs. Again, create two variations of the email. Everything else stays same. Subject line is the same, body is the same. Only the CTA changes, and we see which CTA is going to win. Okay, whatever the winning CTA, you can continue with that CTA going forward. Okay, so that helps you refine your campaign in a more structured way, in a more minute level. Okay, Then we have another milestone, which is campaign setup and launch. So everything that we talked about this that will follow only after the campaign setup is complete. Uh, so we need to set up the email platform. So you need to pick, first of all, you need to pick up a platform, for example, reply.io or instantly. That initial setup needs to be completed, domain needs to be connected, email boxes need to be connected. Once that is done, email warm-up needs to be completed, and then we go ahead with creating the email templates inside the campaign. Start creating the campaign, doing the personalization for each campaign and for each email inside the campaign. Then comes the testing part. Once everything is set up, we test it out internally. We send it to ourselves, our internal teams, and see if the formatting is correct, if the links are working properly, how is the email looking in different devices, how is the overall presentation, and so on. Then we have spam testing. There are two